Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Excuse me. Today we're talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie review. So there aren't going to be any spoilers, but we're going to talk a little bit about the movies, a little bit about how it played out, and then I will have my score, and I will also have my wife's score at the end, and just some final thoughts at the end there. So, in short, the movie does a pretty good job of the fan service. Actually, it does really good. It's really good at the fan service, and I think that's really what saves the movie. There's a lot of it too from the second game, which you're going to recognize, but there are also some tweaks to the lore to, I think, fit in kind of a movie format. We see also lots of animatronics. There's over a dozen. We also get a cheesy Five Nights at Freddy's 2 game scene, which was just kind of fun to watch for those that actually know the franchise. As a PG-13 horror movie, I feel like it actually falls fairly flat for most of the movie. The movie isn't necessarily for fans of horror, they're just fans for Five Nights at Freddy's. There are some pretty good jump scares. I would say it's also a safe horror movie with lots happening off screen and also missed opportunities, hence the PG 13 rating. There's also only a few deaths, and there's not really too much tension in some of the scenes that we get that are supposed to be scary. There's also a lot of the movie that actually happens outside of the Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria. There's a school for several scenes. There's also houses. There's dreams. There's some vehicles. There's even kind of like, in a way, a vehicle chase scene. We also get a couple of scenes in parking lots and also on the street. The story itself is pretty poor with some fairly bad kind of clanky pacing and transitions for some of the scenes. Some of the scenes, too, I feel like are there just to kind of further the movie and don't necessarily fit too well. And some scenes are unnecessary. They don't really, again, do very much. Or they're just to show more of the animatronics. Personally, I feel like this should be a rated R film, and it's not. Most people that have played Five Nights at Freddy's are definitely technically adults now, but I think, too, Blumhouse wants to get as many people as they can into those seats. But even when we were there, we didn't really see kids. We just saw a bunch of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds at the movie theater. So I think a rated R film would have been better suited. I think, too, we should have seen more at the Five Nights at Freddy location than we did. The first Five Nights at Freddy movie was better in that regard. We got to see more about the location. There was like a really good kind of transition for a lot of the scenes and involvement with characters and introducing characters and some of the lore that did pretty well. And the first movie, in my opinion, had more substance. It was more satisfying to watch for the characters and for the story. The second movie is all about the fan service. It's all about the animatronics and the pizzeria, and again, kind of creating the fan service that people would expect, but again, not necessarily making a horror movie. So the film kind of feels a little hollow. The trailer, too, shows a lot of the quote good stuff, a lot of the gore stuff, and there's really not much outside of the trailers, unfortunately. Overall reception is that this was roughly about a $45 million budget. There's some reporting that this was 40 million, some are reporting 50 or 51 million, so we'll just go in the middle and say that it's a $45 million budget. The movie has already made more than $110 million, and opening weekend was over 64 million, which I guess was a record for that particular weekend during the year. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 movie, the box office was a total of $291 million globally. Metacritic score for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was a 26 out of 100, and users were a 7.1 out of 10. Again, the fans went to go see the movie, and they enjoyed the fan service. My own personal rating is roughly about a 5 out of 10. And while the movie, I think, kind of fails and some of the scenes aren't really necessary, again, the fan service is really, really good. And it's really cool to see some of the animatronics and the designs that we had and just some of the layouts. And even with one of the location at Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria was also done very, very well. So and my wife, she had an 8 out of 10. Again, the fan service sells very, very well. Is very fun to watch as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. So if you are a fan, go see it. Definitely go see it in the theater. Go pay for that ticket and go enjoy the movie. It is really cool too. Also seeing some of the aspects from the second game. Yet as a horror movie, the script writing, the acting, the transition of some of the scenes, and some of the scenes themselves just don't really seem necessary and are pretty bad. So overall, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie, at least I think, to see once, but I think what we're going to see at the end of it all is that people are going to like Five Nights at Freddy's 1 better compared to Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And then we're also going to get, most likely, a Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Number 2 has made plenty of money. They've made more than their budget, a lot more than their budget. And they'll probably hit $150, $200 million globally, would be my guess. I don't think they're necessarily going to be making more, but we'll see. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, though, I am kind of worried about because one thing we got to find out with Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the second movie, is that, well, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's had some influence and impact, of course, for the lore for the first movie, but he basically got to do everything in every aspect of that movie in the second one, and I think it shows. He's also the director, he's dealing with the lore, he's having influence on the script writing and acting and some of the scenes, and I think it just shows that someone else different was directing it and it wasn't for the better. And that was just part of the deal that he had. He made a ton of money. He was excited about it. His movie did very, very well that he was a part of for the first one, but as part of the agreement, he needed to basically be the one to do everything if there was going to be a second movie. So Blumhouse, of course, liking to make money, said, yeah, sure, you can do it. And now we have the movie that we have, which I think could have been better if we had a real director, some good script writers, and all of that kind of jazz. So if we get a third movie, I imagine it will be somewhat of the same, where he is going to be able to dictate a ton of the movie, a ton of the directing and the scenes and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just not sure if that's the best case scenario, because I think the potential to make a ton of money for the third movie is there, but will they actually seize that? And can he get his own ego out of the way and actually just allow them that know what they're doing to make a movie with his IP? I think that would be the best way forward. So if you've seen it, what do you guys think of it? Please, no spoilers. And also, if you haven't seen it yet, are you planning to go see it? Be a part of the discussion respectfully. And with that, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.